And there we are, we're on air. So call to order. Good morning. I would like to welcome all members and guests to the November 29th, 2023 Police Services Board meeting. I would like to remind everyone that our meetings are web streamed and televised. Please ensure that your phones are on silent mode. If you are joining virtually, please use the Microsoft Teams raise hand feature icon to be called upon and remove it when finished speaking. With that, I call the November 29th, 2023 Police Services Board meeting to order. Our first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda or changes to the agenda. Are there any of the following? Any changes, any additions? Yes, Member Santos?
Madam Chair, if I can just add or possibly add 9.3 contract renewal, big question mark that I have. If that's possible, if we can add that as 9.3. We have it to 9.2, but, and I'm referencing contract renewal with the OPP.
9.3, so we'll add 9.3 contract renewal with OPP.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And then if we can add one more, Madam Chair, and I apologize for not emailing you and requesting this.
Okay.
I received the hard copy on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and I reviewed it yesterday. Can we also add 9.4 Norfolk OPP receiving $844,084 in regards to, I believe it was a grant.
Okay.
For a 3-year period. I'd like to speak on that behalf.
Okay.
Please and thank you. And that would be 9.4.
Okay. I'll just put that down as grant received.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Are there any other additions or changes? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Member Cruz and seconded by Member Van Houten. All in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is confirmation of the minutes from the previous meeting. We have the following minutes before us today. 4.1, the Police Services Board minutes from September 27th, 2023. Are there any questions, additions? Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On page 7 of 50, I reviewed this and just have a question, and I want to ask, why is it says mayor and clerk on page 7 of 50? It's my understanding that it's usually the chair of the board and the board administrator, not the mayor or clerk. So
okay,
I think this was an error.
I'm jumping. Sorry, George, or sorry, Member Santos. Page
7 of 50 of the agenda.
Okay, there we are. I've got it now.
So it shouldn't read mayor and clerk. My understanding, it should read chair of the Police Services Board and board administrator.
Okay, I'm not seeing that on my page 7.
Right at, sorry, right at the bottom.
Oh, mayor and clerk. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at the, okay.
So
That's through you, Chair Huffman.
Yeah.
That's a quick clerical fix. No worries. Thank you.
Okay, we'll fix that.
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, may I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented? Member Santos? As amended, sorry, as amended. And seconder? Member Vanden Rishi. All in favor? That is carried. Presentations. We have no presentations at this time today. We do have one deputation today, and welcome, Doug. I'm looking forward to hearing your discussion regarding the safety of our residents. You have 5 minutes for your deputation. I will let you know when you have about a minute remaining. So with that, I would like to introduce Mr. Doug Feltmate, and the floor is yours.
One here. Okay, I've got it. Thank you, Madam Chair. Quickly, I hope I can do it in 5 minutes. No matter where or when I drive in Simcoe, I see numerous speeders. Some of the worst speeding offenses occur in school zones, Highway 3 east and west in town, Highway 24 into town, from the south, Colburn Village, Ireland Side Road, and Decoux. And Decoux especially from Ireland Side Road back down to Highway 24. On Ireland Side Road, there are, excuse me, on Decoux, there are a lack of sidewalks and numerous walkers, joggers, cyclists, pet walkers, and electric carts. People on the walking trail have to cross Decoux Road at the bottom of a huge hill on which bad drivers pick up more speed coming into Simcoe. The OPP cannot be everywhere, nor should they be. There are far more important issues for them during each shift, such as investigating accidents, crime investigations, drug peddling, patrols, and emergencies of all kind. You as a police services board can assist but not replace the OPP in the control of speeding by recommending the following to Norfolk Council. Speed cameras. In 2020, the Ontario government legislated the use of speed measuring photo radar cameras. Photo radar cameras detect the speed of a moving vehicle using radar. If a vehicle is found to be exceeding the speed limit, the camera captures an image of the license plate. These cameras operate autonomously without the need for a police officer or an operator on site. When a vehicle travels past the speed camera, the integrated radar system inside the camera precisely measures the speed at which the vehicle is moving. If the vehicle speed exceeds the prescribed speed limit for that area, the camera is triggered to capture a clear image of the license plate. The speed camera diligently records speed, license plate number, the specific date and direction of the vehicle. All of this captured data, together with the photograph, is securely documented and saved within the camera's internal storage. To issue the ticket for this speeding, the details from the photo radar are checked by a provincial offenses officer. I would imagine that's an OPP position. I could be wrong on this. The officer scrutinized the data to ascertain the accuracy of the speeding violation. And where the officer ensures that the vehicle was speeding, the officer issues a speeding ticket, which provides information about the ticket, the allowed speed limit, the date and time. The ticket is subsequently mailed within 23 days to the registered address of the owner of the vehicle, making them aware of the infraction and the corresponding penalty. Now, this differs from if the OPP stops a driver is speeding. They're in some cases given demerit points and what have you. This works on a different principle. The fine goes directly to the owner of the vehicle. There are no points involved, what have you. In photo radar, the penalty goes against the vehicle, not the driver. Where the owner refuses or neglects to pay the fine is then placed upon the vehicle license, the license plates, and upon renewal, the owner will be subject to a plate denial. Plate denial means that the speeding ticket fee will be added to the plate renewal. The owner will not be allowed to renew the validation of the plate without paying the fine. Just to give you an example, I've got some numbers in here, but basically each of these units right now cost, according to Toronto information, $50,000, and that includes maintenance and what have you, on an annual basis. By my calculations, based on the fines for different speed levels, it would take less than 2 months for the county to pay off this $50,000. And also, I've noticed that I've got a picture with my presentation here in the very last page that there appears to be like a concrete base with 4 big bolts at each corner of the concrete base. So it appears as if these units can be taken from one area to another just by taking them off the base and then putting them on another base, depending on where you want to position them. So basically, Norfolk County would do very well out of this. Toronto, for example, has made millions and millions of dollars off their photo system. And just to give you an idea of the results in Toronto, I took a look at some information on drops in speeding and what have you. The speeding in 60-kilometer zones in Toronto, once they put in these radars, photo radars, have dropped 38.5% in 60-kilometer zones. And let's see here. Yeah, they went from 38.5% of all cars who were speeding to 20.2%. And the percentage of the drivers exceeding the speed limit decreased at 80% of locations with ASE devices. Excessive speeding, driving over the speed limit by 20 kilometers or more, was also reduced by 87%. So I'm looking at some really good numbers here from a safety standpoint. I'm looking at definitely an income creating for the county, and the only thing you have to watch for is there's some vandalization. However, Toronto has stated that most of the incidents did not result in the cameras being taken out of service. The last line I read on the Toronto report is that we really believe that ASE devices are a critical tool in the toolbox in terms of helping drivers realize that slowing down saves lives. It is very, very promising. And that came from the General Manager of Transportation for the City of Toronto. One thing I just thought I'd add this morning is that the average car weight is 2,600 to 4,400 pounds. The average weight of students and pedestrians is somewhere between 50 and 200 pounds. There's not much left when a car hits a person. And I'm disappointed with the amount of speeders in this. I mean, the OPP are doing a wonderful job, but they can be seen quite easily in many locations. And they have to issue tickets, which is very time consuming. These machines don't need anybody to run them. They run themselves. You just got to pick up the information, bring it in, and send out the tickets.
Thank you very much for your deputation.
Thank you.
With that, I do have some great news for you. Norfolk County did do a pilot project on ASEs and put them as a test in several locations. And during one of our council meetings, I believe in September, I want to say September or very beginning of October, we brought this forth for discussion, and Norfolk County has voted in favor of going with the ASEs. And we have put, I believe it was 125,000 forward for a consultant to gather all the information, probably similar to what you have. So you're probably ahead of the game in terms.
I'm sorry, but I missed one point that I thought of on the way in, is that I thought it would be an excellent idea to get somebody with a good technical background from the OPP, and somebody with a good technical background from Norfolk County, and the county pay their way to Toronto to research how they're doing this, what kind of machines they're using, that
Right,
kind of
and
thing,
that's what the
which would be a lot cheaper
125,000.
than 120.
Probably. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
So we are moving forward with the ASCs. I want to say that one of them I know for a fact was, and as a counselor, I'll kind of take off one hat and put on another, but as a counselor, I can speak to, for all of our council members, one of the top calls that we receive from residents is regarding speed and unsafe driving conditions or unsafe driving practices in our community. And one of the ASCs was set up, the trial was set up on Main Street in Waterford, and it was deemed that it would be an excellent location for one. And my understanding is, like you mentioned, that they are movable, so we wouldn't just be tied to certain locations. We can move them around.
Exactly. That's the
So-
key, is to, after people recognize them in a certain area, just pick them up, move them to another street that's bad,
Right.
or road or whatever.
Mhm.
Yes.
Now, does anyone on the Police Services Board have any question for Mr. Feltmate? Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Mr. Feltmate. Thank you for putting this report together. And just so that you're aware, I'm not convinced in regards to photo radar. And that's my opinion and my opinion only, and I'll share that opinion with the board. Why? The reason being is because I truly believe, in my way of looking at this, that this is up to the OPP to enforce. When I think of all of this, Mr. Feltmate, I think, our police cruisers, they have state-of-the-art equipment. And more importantly, for me, it's a police station on 4 wheels. So I think what we need to do, and as an oversight body of the OPP, as a police services board, is request that we have traffic enforcement. I know our neighbors to the north, and I'm referencing Brant County. Brant County hired 2 police officers, and they spoke of traffic enforcement. And these 2 officers, what they do is they go throughout the county of Brant, and all they do is traffic enforcement. But it's not to say that the other officers that are on out taking calls can't do the job. Again, these cruisers on 4 wheels, it's an OPP station. They have started the state-of-the-art equipment. So that's one point that I want to make. Another point, Mr. Feltman, and please accept the fact that I respect what you're saying, but I'm just going to bring my standpoint on this. Once this happens, we're going to be clogging up the court system. And the court system right now is already clogged up provincially and municipally with regards to the POA. I don't know if anyone is aware. I mean, the roster list is pretty heavy. We tack this on, oh my goodness, we're going to have a lot of issues. And I know Toronto has had issues and continues to have issues. And I did a little bit of research, and my understanding is that Toronto's moving from an administrative penalty system to removing the speed cameras to other courts. So once we start doing that, for me, it becomes the first step to accepting more taxes, number one. And number two, we're going to have to hire a provincial individual to make sure that these machines work and they're accurate, because these machines that are going to be put all over the county, if it does happen, there has to be some accuracy. And if there isn't, when it goes to court, it's going to be thrown out. So the question is, who's going to maintain these machines? And second of all, or thirdly, when it comes, Mr. Feltman, to these machines, I truly believe that if we leave it to the OPP, and I know that the councillors over the last several years have concerns with regards to speeding, and I know the OPP can't be everywhere. I've read your documentation, but what we have to understand is we as a police services board, we're an oversight body. Like I had said, what we need to do is request that the OPP either hire 2 other more individuals or ramp up, if it's possible, the speeding enforcement in our different counties.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Member Vanden Rishi?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. Thank you for your presentation. I think you bring up an issue that's everywhere, not just unique to Simcoe and area. It's everywhere. So if anything, and I agree with the chair, we all get those calls of the small communities driving through Lindock, they're way too speedy. They're driving through Cortland, way through speedy.
Yeah.
They're driving through La Salette, way through speedy. So it's an issue that's everywhere. So how do we resolve that? But the council has made a decision to start to review this and take a real serious look at it. So it is something that will be addressed. So, and I thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Member Cruz?
Thank you, Chair, and through you, Mr. Veltman. Thank you for your presentation. I personally support this. I think that this issue, photo radar, can be used in addition to the community safety that's provided by the OPP. I think this will give the OPP more time away from doing radar duties and give them time to investigate crimes and more priority issues than setting up radar on county roads. I think that this will not only be revenue neutral, but revenue positive, and any negatives that come from that in hiring people or technicians or starting a new court will actually come from the revenue gained from the machines if they are installed in the county here. And firstly, the most important thing about this is the community safety. Speed goes down, the OPP have time to do more priority things, and speed goes down, less traffic accidents, and the community in Norfolk County is safer, in my view. I support it, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Member Van Houten?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Veltman, for your presentation today. From my personal opinion, and you go through history and go way back, and I can remember how much of a political football this was back in the 90s, and I think the Harris government then put a stop to it. My personal view, and that's only a personal view, and I respect all the other views, is that my preference would be that we wouldn't need something like this. We currently identify hotspots, and having police presence is a great thing. And there was a whole number of other tools that we try to do our best. It's never perfect, obviously, but certainly the OPP try their best to get people to abide by the safety of the road. So it was for sure my preference that we didn't need to go down that type of thing. I know it's used in lots of different cities. Toronto, you'll see it, and they have whole separate bigger issues. In rural Canada, I was hoping that we didn't have to do it. I'll be honest.
Thank you for your comments. Member Vanden Rishi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And through you, I'd like to make a motion to receive the presentation or deputation. I confuse those every time.
Thank you. I just wanted to add before we kind of get a seconder for that. Thank you very much for your presentation. I can guarantee you, I understand that there are different positions around the table, but at this point in time, Norfolk County has decided to move forward with the consultant in terms of looking into it. And I'm sure that some of the questions that were raised here today will be a part of the involvement of the consultant and answering those questions, and we'll go from there. Just as a final thought, I was just wondering if Staff Sergeant Fox had anything to add regarding photo radar. Sorry.
No problem, Madam Chair. Thank you. I was just having a conversation before the meeting with Member Cruz in regards to it, and I don't have a personal opinion on it at this point, and I haven't read any literature. I'm not aware of an OPP location that is operating photo radar at this point. I know there's probably red light cameras, et cetera, and I think it works on the same principle as the red light camera where the driver doesn't have to be identified. But I would have to do some more research to have a good opinion on that.
Thank you very much. And I think it is important to add that Norfolk County geographically is extremely large. And we do know that the OPP cannot be everywhere at every time. And this is an issue that is countywide. So I look forward to seeing what comes back from our consultant. So with that, do I have a member to second the motion? Member Cruz? And this is in regards to receiving this deputation as information. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Feltmate. You have a wonderful day. Just give you a moment to gather your things. Mr. Feltmate, did you need to get some assistance with the lift? Are you okay? All right. Thank you very much. All right. Take care. You too. Just wait a moment. Oh, we have, okay. Member Van and Rishi will assist. Please stand by if you're following us at home. We're just dealing with an assistance with our deputy. Yes, for anyone who has been to council chambers, we do have a steep set of stairs. So thank you very much, members, for assisting Mr. Feltmate. Number 7 on the agenda is consent agenda. We have 2 consent items today. Does any board member wish to pull an item for further discussion? Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could ask Staff Sergeant Fox just a number of questions in regards to the agenda. So I'm going to ask everyone to turn to page 17 of 50. So I note here it says noteworthy occurrences. Males stole multiple vehicles during a crime spree located in a stolen 1973 Mustang at Circle K in Delhi, rammed 3 police cruisers, subsequently arrested and charged with over 30 criminal charges. So my question is, of these 30 criminal charges to Staff Sergeant Fox, was one assault on police or?
Through, Madam Chair. I believe, not having the resources here to look that up right now, but I do believe there was a charge for assault police utilizing a motor vehicle.
Thank you. Madam Chair, also,
Yes.
I'll just continue on. If on page 25 of 50, again, notable increases in the crime report. I notice here assaults on police, assaults at school, historic assaults, but mainly here assaults on police. So for the month of September, was there an increase, Staff Sergeant Fox?
Through you, Madam Chair, in regards to assaults on police officers, I think,
Sir, yes.
not that I'm aware of. My understanding would be if there was anything, it would probably be the charges stemming from that incident that you just referenced in regards to the assault against police, assault with a weapon being the motor vehicle.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Madam Chair, if I may just continue on.
Yes.
In the month of October, on page 31 of 50, noteworthy occurrences, and I bring this to everyone's attention because this happened in October. It says here, vehicle failed to stop and intentionally struck a police cruiser. The vehicle fled and then struck a civilian vehicle, including the occupants. The responsible driver was arrested and charged accordingly. So the same question again, Staff Sergeant, with regards to assault to police. And the reason I say this is because intentionally striking a police cruiser. I mean, you've got a vehicle, it's 2 ton, intentionally striking a police officer. So for me, I've got concerns in that. So that's the question I have.
Madam Chair, thank you, Member Santos. In regards to that investigation, I can't say too much about it because that's an SIU investigation and it is still under investigation. But the only thing I can say is no officers were injured in that incident.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And if I can continue, Madam Chair, please. to Staff Sergeant Fox. On page 33, I just wanted to make note in reference to public education campaigns. I have noticed, and I've talked to numerous people in the community where the OPP constables are going into the schools, and there's a reference to this, and I just wanted to commend the OPP officers, and I believe it's Constable Sean Holton that is making this work with other officers, and I believe it's Constable Gamble that's also involved in this. And I mean, this is positive. This is something that I have to bring to everyone's attention because it's something positive that the OPP are engaging once again in the schools. And there's a lot of hours that are being put forth to this. And it's not only in the schools, but also throughout the community. So very impressed. With that, I'm going to ask everyone to just go to the following page, which is 34 of 50. And I noticed here that Constable Shauna Polton in the month of October is pretty well everywhere in our county here, not only from mental health calls to schools, to individuals that are sleeping in park benches, or it even notes here, and I'll bring this to everyone's attention, Shauna assisted individuals, second paragraph, who were sleeping at the Simcoe Town Hall steps and library with resources and guidance, resulting in the area being cleared and cleaned of all individuals and debris. So again, positive. My only one concern is, and looking at the stats and all of this positive, is that Constable Polton is definitely doing an excellent job. But my concern is burnout, because it's going to be continuous with not only the homeless, but also with the schools. So I'm just wondering, if I may, Madam Chair, to Staff Sergeant Fox, if they're going to have someone assist her with this in the schools, because I do believe that they've added 22 new schools. Well, I shouldn't say new schools, but 22 schools to the program since, I believe, the public board.
Thank you for your comments. One, I just wanted to remind you that with consent items, it is beneficial to pull them prior to the meeting so that the OPP have an opportunity to review the pulled items and provide actual data for you. And I believe in terms of my statement would be that that is Inspector Tate's role in terms of making sure that the staffing would be complementary to Officer Polton. And do you have anything to add to that, Staff Sergeant Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And through you, I think I can probably talk a little bit on it on Inspector Tate's behalf. We do realize that Officer Polton is doing a ton of work and a ton of great work. Under our Community Safety Services umbrella, we have three positions: your Community Safety Officer, that being your media officer. You have a Community Mobilization Officer, that's the role that Shauna Polton is in. And then we have what we call an SRO, a School Resource Officer. We don't have anybody fulfilling that position currently at Norfolk County. I know Inspector Tate has had some conversations with Officer Polton. Officer Polton has also pulled some stats, so that is under review. So we would like to get some support that way, but I'll leave it to Inspector Tate to report back on where that ends up going.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that clarification. Member Santos, did you have anything additional?
Yeah, if I may, Madam Chair. I respect your comments with respect to placing and putting questions to either our chief or to the staff sergeant, but I did receive a copy of the agenda on Monday. So by the time I've read it, come Tuesday, by the time Tuesday to Wednesday, there's really not that much space in between to pose these questions. So that's why I pose them here at the Police Services Board.
If I'm not mistaken, Member Santos, Genevieve, can you confirm when was the email sent out with the agenda attached? Because I received mine. I'm sure I received mine prior to Monday. A week ago, yeah. That's why we do that, so that people can go through the agenda. It may not be a hard copy because we're moving everything to electronic. So that gives everyone the opportunity to go through the agenda, because we wanted to make sure that that really gave our OPP officers who were here around the table the opportunity to have that data for the questions. So that's the clarity. So Thursday, the 23rd was when the agenda went out. So I think that that's sufficient time for everyone to, give it a quick run through, maybe not completely, and pull some items. So just as that for future reference, do you have anything else that you wanted to speak to today?
Yes, please, Madam Chair. So back to Staff Sergeant Fox. So my concern is the schools. And I would ask Staff Sergeant Fox if you could let our Chief of Police know that I highly would recommend that we prioritize the schools. The children.
Is that a motion that you're making?
No, it's a comment to,
Okay.
If I may.
Yep.
It's a very important one because the last 2 years we've had COVID, and then of course the Board of Education publicly wouldn't allow the police officers in. So I think we have a golden opportunity here, and I think we should take advantage of it. So maybe there should be a motion. But anyways, that's a question to Staff Sergeant Fox.
Madam Chair, just in regards to making sure Inspector Tate is aware that you would like to have that prioritized. Absolutely, I'll pass that on. I know, as I mentioned before, he's reviewing that. So he's taking careful consideration into that right now. So, but I'll make sure that's relayed to him as a priority from the board.
Okay, so we won't make a motion on that. It'll just be direction. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything in regards to the two items that have been presented? Staff Sergeant Fox, would you like to speak to any of those in terms of some of the items that you might like to bring to our attention and for the public? And floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to pass on Inspector Tate's regrets. He had some training that he wasn't able to reschedule. Staff Sergeant McNorgan is on some well-deserved annual leave. In regards to the October report, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. PD 13, we had that in October. That went off well. That was Inspector Tate's first time being around a PD 13. So I think he's well positioned. I think our next one is September 2024 next year. So yeah, it went off without a hitch, and he's been conducting some follow-up meetings just to see how everything went, some debriefs on it. So in regards to impaired related events, when I was reading over some of the stuff, I really like the numbers. Obviously, you can see that year to date, we've done 520 ride events. Previous year to date was 259. So we've really increased that. And when you look at the correlation of the impaired occurrences, they're down a little bit. And I would like to think that with us being out there and being more visible and trying to get as many ride events in as we can, that I think the community is hopefully seeing that as well. Another point was with the mobile crisis rapid response team. They're doing a fantastic job. And I think a good stat to see there is the diversion from the hospital, 89%. That's fantastic. I don't have the numbers as far as our current wait times at the hospital, but regardless, 89% diversion, it means that we're not there as much and the people are getting the resources through our MCERT worker that is phenomenal. The provincial campaign that we had, Operation Impact, that was over the Thanksgiving weekend. You can see the stats there. I think officers did a good job there. Speaking of that, I know it's always tough. We don't have a dedicated traffic unit here in Norfolk, but so the members do have to balance their time between reactive calls for service and proactive traffic enforcement, as well as, fitting in foot patrol and all the vehicle patrol in the county. So there's lots to balance there. Violent crime, we saw a decrease of 9.5% from October last year. I think that's good. Obviously, a question might have been in regards to the sexual assaults. You would have seen there's a notable increase from October of last year to October this year. As noted in the report, a lot of times that's due to historical reporting. I had a quick chat with our detective sergeant, and there's nothing that stands out from October that would be of any concern. In regards to the motor vehicle report, probably the best piece is 0 fatals for October, which is fantastic. Year to date, we're down 37.5% for that. Personal injury, I think that was up by 2 from last year. And property damage, there was a small increase in that as well. It's that time of year now when the deer are out, and obviously as we saw the weather-related events yesterday, not so much in Norfolk County, but a lot on the highways. The weather's coming, so just to remind the public to be aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Member Cruz.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, just thank you to the OPP for their job they did on Port Dover Friday the 13th. I was down there with family and friends and noticed good visibility from the OPP. Everybody felt safe. All the people were having a nice time and they felt safe, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
Everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Cruz. So at this point in time, I would like to, we do have a motion to, I believe Member Vanden Riche, you put that on the floor, a member to approve the consent items as presented. Is there a seconder? Member Van Houten, and all those in favor? And that is carried. Now we do have item 8 on the agenda is items deferred from previous meeting. We have one item deferred from the previous meetings. It's 8.1, motion deferred to November 29th, 2023. That the Police Services Board send correspondence to the Crown Attorney noting that whereas there has been an increase in instances of violence against police officers and paramedics, the Norfolk County Police Services Board is hereby supportive of strong measures being taken in addressing these matters. So at this point in time, just to recap, we had that put forth at our last meeting. The feedback from Inspector Tate was that he did then provide us with a follow-up email stating that at this point in time, it was not the consensus from the OPP that there was a rise in that issue, and did not at that point in time recommend that we send a letter. So is there any discussion regarding that follow-up from Inspector Tate? Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So to our board members, I did receive that email also. Thank you. And in reading that email, his comment was there has been a slight increase in events. So Madam Chair, I believe that the motion that I had put forth back earlier on, I believe in September, I would ask that it stand and that we can vote on it. And the reason being is in the month of September and October, I've mentioned people intentionally ramming police cruisers.
So at this point in time, I'm just going to stop you there. So do you have a motion that you would like to put forward?
Yes, Madam Chair. So basically the motion will be the same motion, and I'll read it out exactly as it states here, that the Police Services Board send correspondence to the Crown Attorney noting that whereas there has been an increase in instances of violence against police officers, mainly September, October, August, and July, to police officers and paramedics. But of course, we're an oversight body of the OPP, so I reference the OPP. So the Norfolk County Police Services Board is hereby supportive of strong measures being taken in addressing these matters.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that motion? Member Vanden Riche?
Yes, Madam Chair, and if I could speak to it.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. And through you, I see no harm in sending a letter to the Crown Attorney indicating that just keep a good watch out on this type of thing. And I think it complements our officers to say, look, we've got your back. We want to make sure that things are done properly and that there's the proper punishment for the crime sort of deal. So anyway, I do support it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Member Van Houten.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I thought after last meeting, we brought it up, and and I'm going by memory, so that can be dangerous, Madam Chair. I'm going, okay, yeah. And one of the things we decided at the time was that we needed more data, because you got to know the end game, and if you want to have a cloud on your issue, you got to have the proper backup. I have to commend Chief Tates. He followed up immediately. He actually had a meeting with the Crown Attorney here in Simcoe right away on that issue. And I thought the follow up and everything I read in the email, I thought, oh, this is awesome. This is exactly all we needed for the time being. So that's where I was. You can send the letter, I guess. I mean, there's no harm, but I would rather save it for when I got some clout behind it. That's my preference. It's not that I'm opposing to what you're saying. I'm just saying, do it when the time is right, when you have backup, and at that time better. Because I was very pleased when I received the email right quick after the meeting that and then you had person-to-person dialogue right away, a new chief and going right in, and I thought that was the best way humanly possible to do it. I was really impressed.
I agree with you.
I thought we were good. I would rather save it for another time, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm flexible.
Thank you very much for your comments. Member Cruz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment. I agree with Member Van Houten. I think the response we received from Inspector Tate and him meeting with the Crown and the Crown assuring Inspector Tate that they were taken seriously. This issue was taken seriously, and also inviting members of the board to sit in and that. So I thought that that's enough. The issue was taken care of, and I agree that letters should be sent when there's more backup to the issue.
Thank you very much. I just want to quickly speak to it as well. I support that, Member Van Houten and Member Cruz, that we received very good documentation from Inspector Tate. It was fulsome. There was dialogue with our Crown Attorney, and at this point in time, I don't feel that it's an over and above issue that we're dealing with here in Norfolk County. Unfortunately, this is an issue that I think, OPP deal with on a regular basis in case of lack of respect and things like that. But I don't feel at this point in time that it's necessary that we send a letter. And Member Member Santos, I saw you had your hand raised.
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. I just want to remind everyone of our role. We're an oversight body. I mentioned two serious issues that happened with vehicles and police officers. And I think our voice and a letter to the Crown's office or the Crown Attorney's office, and I respect what our Chief of Police has done, admirable, and I'm grateful. But at the same time, we have a duty, and I would ask for support on this motion to our members. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Van Den Rishi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you to in completion with debate. This would be my last round on debate. At the end of the day, this is something that complements what has been done. This is just a letter to reinforce to the Crown Attorney. Yes, you've spoken with Officer Tate. You followed up with us. Great. Now we have a paper trail to say that here we've taken this very seriously. We're not asking for anything more. We're just corresponding. We're not demanding anything except that we agree with measures being taken and strong measures. And I don't see it hurting. I think it just complements what has been done, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will call to vote. And there is a motion on the floor. There is a seconder. Oh, Member Van Houten.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I would be quite flexible on this. I would be curious though for a little more expert advice on it from the Staff Sergeant. If there is an opinion on, like, well, is this a positive step to do at this time?
Through you, Madam Chair, Member Van Houten, I'm not privy to the email that was sent to the board, so I'm not sure what steps, and I'm not privy to the conversation that Inspector Tate had with the Crown, so I don't think I can in a proper position to comment on it.
Fair enough. So with that, there is a motion on the floor. There is a seconder to the motion. It is, in summary, it would be sending a letter of correspondence to the Crown Attorney and regarding assaults on police officers in Norfolk County. With that, I will call to vote. All of those in favor of sending a letter to the Attorney General. All those opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. Okay. Right. Item number 9 on the agenda is items for consideration. We have 2 items for consideration. And those are item number 9.1, our 2024, I can't believe we're at 2024, meeting schedule. The proposed dates are January 31st, March 27th, May 29th, July 31st, September 25th, and November 27th. Are there any questions or concerns about the board regarding these meeting dates? Member Vanden Rishi?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, trying to go quickly. Are these basically all Wednesdays?
They are all Wednesdays,
Okay.
Wednesday mornings at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you. At least for being consistent. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Can I get a mover for the 2024 meeting schedule? Member Van Houten, seconder. Member Santos, all those in favor? And that is carried. Sorry, the next item on items for consideration is item number 9.2. It's the Police Services Board budget update and departmental summary. We have the 2023 executive summary for information and the draft of the 2024 executive summary for comments and input from the board. The executive summary will be provided to the Finance Department for their report to Council. They include the prior year achievements, upcoming goals, initiatives, and challenges. At this point in time, I'd like to open it up for comments from the board regarding this executive summary. Member Vanden Rishi?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. This is great. How do we complement, or how do we put it together? Is this something we sit down as a group and do, or is this something that we find our achievements, or how do we handle this one?
Okay, at that, I will pass it over to our clerk and let her address.
Through you, Chair. This is an opportunity today for the board members to provide input into this document. The 2023 one, or sorry, the 2022, 2023 one is there as an example that was already provided based on the prior year 2022 achievements. So a lot of this will stay the same. Our function, services remains the same. Prior year achievements, now we're looking at 2023 achievements. And upcoming main objectives, initiatives, or milestones, things we hope to accomplish. That may be related to that community policing funds allowed in the budget this year, or the changes coming to police service boards across Ontario, may pose some challenges or some unknowns for the board. So rather than have staff complete this, I'm open to any input from board members. And Madam Chair, if you want to do this now, or if you want people to send emails with their comments, I can gather those up and provide a final version back.
That was going to be my preference, to give everybody an opportunity to look at the proposed summary and add what you may feel. There may be some personal goals in there that, not that we can add everybody's personal goals, but, you know, we can just kind of compile what the board sees as milestones, goals, achievements, things like that. So if that is all right with everybody, instead of kind of doing it now on the fly, why. I would encourage everyone to take a look at the 2023 example. It's a great template. 2024 is a wonderful opportunity for us to start anew. We have a new inspector, and there's some different things, as we said earlier, coming to Norfolk County. So I encourage everyone to participate in this exercise and look forward to receiving the emails, and we will forward those to our clerk, and she will compile that, and we will review it at our January meeting. Does that suit everybody? I see head nods. And Member Santos.
Madam Chair, if I may, in the past, it was my understanding that the Police Services Board would meet and actually put together a department or put together a summary and reference the community safety plan. So I'm just wondering who put this together, Madam Chair?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Who put this together?
The 2023 one? I don't know, because it was kind of before my time as chair. Genevieve, do you have an answer for that?
You, Chair. I'm not sure as well. It was before my time as well. My understanding was that it was put together by staff, but I felt that this board is very engaged and very interested in their contributions to the community, that it was best to come to the board for your comments and input. And then I will summarize and compile what I receive back from you to make it more board-led rather than staff-led document.
I think staff might have just gone from minutes and things like that, previous minutes, and compiled it. So like Genevieve said, we want to look at this as being member driven from the board, and have an opportunity in January. That might lead to a little bit of a longer meeting in January, but we can get this going, and I would love to start off the new year with that summary. Member Cruz.
Madam Chair, I'm just wondering if this might be an opportunity for a training day for the board prior to the January meeting, where we can all put our heads together in the same room and get something together where it might shorten the January meeting.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I was thinking that last night. Thank you for rejigging my memory. I was thinking that workshop format that we did a month or so ago, or 2 months, I guess it was the end of July. I remember because I was going to my football game, that we had a lot of success with that workshop format. So with that, Member Santos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I remember correctly, last year I was the chair of the Police Services Board, and prior to that I was the vice chair. No, the chair and then the vice chair for the last almost 4 years. This to me is new, and the reason being is I'm looking at this, and I know this will come up for discussion whenever we decide to do this. But my concerns basically is the upcoming main objectives, and if that is what staff has put together. I mean, we can speak of that. But the main concern I have here is a decrease of $715,000. And this is due to an adjustment consistent with conservative budgeting. Where did this come up? Because this is the first that I've read and seen. And the question I have, Madam Chair, to the Police Services Board, and then of course the Norfolk Council, is, so is this a precedent? The OPP saves money, and in 2 years they do a great job, and they haven't spent it, so we're not going to give it to them, and they have less.
Okay, I think we're a tad off topic here. Just a minute. Genevieve, can you speak to this?
Through you, Chair. This is just a brief overview that the Finance Department looks for while they're putting together and finalizing their report regarding the upcoming operating budget for the next year. So where the 2023, where this document came from, as the chair said, staff would have gotten the information from board minutes, board directions, resolutions, and the changes to the budget that were noted in there, I think are questions for our finance department I can ask about, but they're in this year's budget that's almost done. So in the next couple of weeks, I need to provide an overview only to the finance department, just an overview. But I do recommend that the board proceed with a workshop to flush out those 2024 goals and make a more meaningful work plan for the year. But for this document, what finance is looking for is a really high level overview. And it's before the board because I didn't want to miss key pieces, key accomplishments that perhaps you're thinking of and I've forgotten, to be quite honest.
Okay, so Member Vanden Rishi?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, yes, and I totally agree that a workshop would be able to, source out some of these ideas and some of these issues that we maybe haven't noted before, and then we can talk about that at that particular time, the budgeting system, how it's working. I think it's crucial that we have that workshop and flush out these ideas.
Okay, with that, would you like to put a motion on the floor that the Police Services Board engage in a workshop prior to the January, of course, the dates, I don't have them in front of me.
Yes, okay. And obviously it's the Christmas season here, so I would recommend obviously maybe the 13th is a Wednesday, if that's possible for everybody.
So we're looking at Wednesday, January the 13th, 2024 for a Police Services Board workshop to work on our operating budget and our police department summary. Sorry, not the operating budget. My apologies. Goals. Just as I read that, I realized I was wrong. Does that date work for people?
That's a Friday, I'm sorry.
Oh, is it?
It is a Friday.
No, it can't be. We don't have a Friday the 13th this year.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. But I was thinking that, yeah, but then maybe that's too soon or yeah, it's up to the committee.
Member Santos?
I would agree with the vice chair. The sooner the better.
Okay.
Because if we're talking about monies and we're talking budgets and
we're not talking budgets, we're talking goals for the Police Services Board. So the budget part is done by finance. So what we're looking at is we're looking at our function and services, our prior year achievements, upcoming main objectives, initiatives or milestones, and then challenges, emerging trends, service issues. The base budget and adjustment drivers is completely done by finance. So what we're going to, so do we want to go with December 13th? Wednesday, December 13th?
If that works with everyone?
Okay.
It's just for a workshop and
Does that sound good, Genevieve?
What do you think, Genevieve? Are you busy or coming off or?
Would we find a meeting space?
Okay, helps out. Okay. Send our ideas out first.
Okay, so December 13th, if there's anything prior to December 13th that would require some staff information, could you please send those questions and things prior to the 13th? So December 13th, we will meet and we will set our goals and objectives for 2024. Pardon? 9:30. Yeah, thank you very much. Do we need a motion for that?
Probably should.
Okay, so you put a motion on the floor. Is there a seconder? Member Santos, all in favor? And that is carried. Okay. The item number 10 on our agenda is correspondence. We have one correspondence item today.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Sorry. Yep.
If I may, prior to the, or during the beginning of the meeting, I did request a 9.3 and a 9.4. So before we go to number 10, can we just address those two, please? So Madam Chair, the 9.3 had to do with the contract renewal.
Okay, Member Santos, go ahead, 9.3.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So if I remember correctly, and I looked at my notes, back in April of this year, I believe we had Sergeant Rob here from the Western Region Municipal Policing, and I had posed the question with regards to the renewal of the OPP contract. Now, as we're all aware, the contract ends December 31st. So when I looked at my notes, it was, just bear with me one second. Yeah, it was my understanding that we were going to renew the contract with the OPP, and that would be left up to you, Madam Chair, and the CAO. So has that been looked after? Because it's important to understand that the new community policing act hasn't come into effect. It could very well be April 1st, it could be June, it could be July, but we still need a contract. And when I look at this, we don't have a contract, then I have a concern. So we need something in writing.
So just to summarize, the contract expires December 31st, correct?
That's correct, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
So the direction you would like me to take is a discussion with our CAO to ensure that a contract is renewed for January 1st, 2024?
That's correct. And that was something that that I had requested on in April
Mhm.
of this year.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering if there was a follow through, because it is very important that we have a contract with the OPP. As of January 1st of 2024, even though they're still going to continue policing,
Thank you.
but we don't have a contract.
Okay. I'll take that as direction, and I will engage in a discussion with our CAO, Al Meneses, and in regards to the contract negotiations with the OPP. All right. Do I need a motion for that? No, I'll just take that as direction. Thank you very much. And next on the agenda is 9.4, and that was Member Santos OPP grant received. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I noticed in the local paper that the Norfolk OPP will be in receipt of $844,084 over 3 years for vehicle thefts. So I bring this to the attention because I didn't know that it was a serious or a big issue in Norfolk County. And Madam Chair, if I may, when I look at Windsor, when I look at London, we're not too far off, and we're just talking Norfolk County, so we're not a big city. So for the province to allocate these monies to our OPP, my concern is when I read the stats, and I think this is a question that I have for Staff Sergeant Fox, is where is it that we have stolen vehicles? Is it under theft over 5,000? And that's a question I just want to bring to the attention of the board.
Okay, thank you very much. Staff Sergeant, are you available to answer that question? I know it's kind of maybe a little bit. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I could probably shed a little light onto that. Depending on the value of the vehicle, it could be theft under, it could be theft over, where those fall into. Just some context, when you get the November report, you are going to see an increase in motor vehicle theft. I don't know how much has been in the news or social media lately, but November, we've been hit very hard lately. We've been doing a lot of analytics on it. And I know Inspector Tate has some meetings lined up next week on how we move forward with the grant funds. Again, excellent work by Officer Polton to get that for the county.
That's very good to hear that. And as a longtime resident of Norfolk County, and prior to that, Haldeman County, vehicle theft has always been an issue in this area. And not only that, we have now come across where farm machinery is being removed from properties illegally, and it is quite a concern. So I'm glad to see that we've got that grant and some work is on the way, and we look forward to an update on that at a later meeting. Okay, so with that, we're on to correspondence. Back to correspondence. Item number 10.1, correspondence. Debbie France, review of the Cannabis Act. So what I would like to do is open the floor for discussion. I hope everyone had an opportunity to review that correspondence. And if there are any comments or questions, please feel free to ask. Does anyone, would anyone like to take the floor at this time? Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First and foremost, I will ask everyone to turn to page 44 of 50 and 45, 46, 47 of 50, 48, and 49, and page 50. Madam Chair and board members, fairly impressed with how this was brought together by Mrs. France, has given us an overview of pretty well 100, I believe it's 119 pages of a report. Madam Chair, I think it's important that we as a police service board take a stand and support the group of individuals that have put this together. This wasn't put together in an hour or a week. It probably took several weeks, if not longer. But for myself, it's important because this issue has been dragging on since our federal government downloaded and brought cannabis into being and left it with the municipal government. And of course, we having a provincial police force and of course with bylaw municipally, I think it's important that we take a stand and respond to this as a board.
All right.
Those are my thoughts.
Thank you very much for your comments. Member Van Houten?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairperson. I would agree with my colleague 100%. There was a tremendous amount of work, and we certainly have to commend the group and in particular Debbie Francis for putting all this together here. There's a lot of reading to go through. When you read it once, you have to read it again because you got to be able to grasp it all, and it's in all different areas and different sections, and one applies more to Norfolk, to the county, to the council part, and some to the Police Services Board. But I think we've all known all along that there was some major loopholes in the legislation and major disconnects. All these things are like, I have to support all of the concerns that are raised in here. And, you know, even with doctor prescriptions, if you recall how crazy that was being done and making the problems even worse, them type of things. And I see that they talk about database in here and that there's more connection from the police to Health Canada and knowing things. So, yeah, I think we should support and I think the next action would be to have a letter from the Police Services Board highlighting the concerns with how it's done currently.
Right.
And so that we're doing our part. I know other boards across the province are as well. And I think even probably the Zone 4 policing as well are going through it. But I think all voices in this helps. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your comments. Are there any other comments about that before I take the floor? Member Van den Rishi?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, as well as I'd like to recognize Bylaw Officer Jim Melson in this. I think the county itself with bylaw, as well as this document, can reflect to send something, a letter of support to indicate that there is a crisis here. And it's not just one crisis, it spreads on to, we hear about vehicles, it's organized crime. So we have to really pay attention to this and make sure we keep our thumb on it. So thank you very much for all the work you're doing.
Member Cruz, did you have anything to add? I thought I saw your hand. I apologize if I put you on the spot.
It wasn't up, but I do have, I have a question. Has this gone to council yet? Does anyone know?
It has been sent to council via email in the same format, with a little bit different in terms of what council would address.
Right.
This one specifically geared for the Police Services Board.
So the ask is a letter from or support from the Police Services Board.
Yes.
And support separately from council.
From council.
Okay, all right.
So,
Thank
so we'll deal obviously with the PSB request. Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's important. There is an appetite for this issue, but there's a deadline. It's December the 31st. So we as a Police Service Board need to get on this. And it's just not a simple letter. We support these facts. I think what we have to also do is do our homework and give a clear indication of what's happening and has happened here in Norfolk. Because we're the Police Services Board and our mandate, of course, is community safety. My point would be to send a copy of our letter also to council so that council is aware of our stance. And I know there's an appetite, but December the 31st is basically the end date for submissions. So I just want to know if, Madam Chair, if we could possibly get together on the 13th and draft a letter.
Actually, that was just where I was going. So I will take it from there. Wanted to make sure that December 13th for the first part works. And if everyone is in agreement, we will sit down on December 13th and formulate a letter on behalf of the Police Services Board in support of this. I would like to compliment the group on the information that was received. It was easy to read, it was easy to follow, and very well laid out. So thank you very much for kind of summarizing the 151 or 91 pages to what was provided. It was very beneficial. And if I'd like to just draw attention to page, okay, what one is it? Okay. Page 42 and 43. I just wanted to, where did it go? Yes,
Madam Chair, I think you're probably referencing the fact.
there it is. Correct. I've challenges, emerging trends, service issues. In 2023, the summary was ongoing concern for residents regarding illegal cannabis cultivation. And so what we can look at too is completing that as part of our challenges, emerging trends, service issues for 2024. So we don't take our foot off the pedal on this, and we continue to provide our support for Norfolk County residents as an oversight of the OPP in regards to the illegal cannabis operation here in Norfolk County. So with that, I would like, can I put a motion on the floor? No, I can't, can I? No, I can't. Member Cruz?
Just a question, Madam Chair. Do we know what the OAPSB is doing?
At this point in time, no. We can get that information, I guess.
I think, Willie, did you mention that that they were?
Yeah, no, and I don't honestly know, but I figured they would because this issue was big with them as well back then, and they would have a lot of clout because they're representing all the groups as well again. So yeah, I'm wondering if we could make some contact because they may have some, like, professionally well done information to help us create this. And actually, we would need it as well from our OPP's perspective, from the chief's perspective. What are the key highlights that we need to make sure that we knock home? You know.
Just in addition to that, just speaking with our clerk, she would be able to make contact with them and find out what direction they're taking. And so we can kind of maybe not duplicate, but we can look at what they've added and we can add on to that. So would anyone like to put a motion on the floor that Member Santos?
Madam Chair, if I may just add, I believe that the chair of the Ontario Association of Police Services Board is Patrick Weaver. He's out of Chatham. And I do believe, in reference to the Western region, that they're well aware of what's taking place. And there is an appetite. The question is who's doing what and how. But I just want to reference, Madam Chair, since you had mentioned page 42, I also want to mention here, and I think this is very important, and this is where we have to advocate. Continue to advocate to the OPP and senior levels of government on behalf of concerns regarding illegal cannabis cultivation. So,
I knew it was somewhere else. My eyes just wouldn't find it. Thank you very much, Member Santos, for bringing that forward.
So very important, and this is something that is to everyone's heart, and I think more importantly for the individuals that are sitting sitting in the pews know very well that they deal with this each and every day. And I think if we do take a stand on the 13th and properly do our homework, it would benefit us all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I agree. And I think we have a very dedicated and knowledgeable group here in Norfolk County. And I would like to, again, just thank them for the work that they have done. And I look forward to December 13th. So I do need a motion. Okay, Member Vanden Rishi.
I'd like to make a motion that we add this to the agenda for the 13th for full and wholesome discussion and a preparation of a document.
Right. Do I have a seconder to that motion? Member Van Houten. All of those in favor? Carried. So in summary, we will meet on December 13th to flush out this correspondence and look at putting a letter together in response prior to December 31st, 2023. Okay. All right. And with that, may I have a motion to adjourn? Member Van Houten, seconder. Member Cruz, all in favor? The meeting is adjourned at 10:49 a.m. Thank you very much and have a great day.